How'd that get in there?
Put your profile of bread. Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love that I'm feeling? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? Is this love that I'm feeling?
Nobody told me that when I came out as non-binary, I was gonna have to start dressing like a Pokemon gym leader. I'd be mad if I didn't look so good.
Swing that down for me. You know I got one of you. Stop the ball, swing that down for me.
Has no rules, no boundaries. He doesn't flinch at torture, human trafficking, or genocide. He's not loyal to a flag or a country or any set of ideals. Eddie. I'm a clone now.
He's my best friend, he's my pal, he's my homeboy, my rotten soldier, he's my sweet cheese, my good time boy.
Inside every snail shell is a tiny disco ball. Disco isn't dead, instead it turns out that it just got small. They've got the boogie oogie all up in their buggy bodies. These super freaks of nature love to seek out funky hobbies. Disco snails. They're off to San Francisco, where the disco's off the rails. They meet and dance the disco in disgusting garbage pails. The after parties in your garden, well, they'll eat your kale and dance the disco, cause they're disco snails. Disco snails. 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 Disco snails. Snails. Disgusting garbage pails. Disco snails. 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 Disgusting garbage pails. Disco snails.
Did you take my eyebrow relaxing cream? No? Well, I actually didn't. I know, I just really need that cream.
Crows have such a funny combination of neophobia and curiosity. Half of their brain says, but what if I can eat it? And the other half says, but what if it eats me? When they're in doubt, they'll typically look to other members of their flock to see if something's dangerous or not.
You see, the name John Cena is not my real name. My name is Hammerbush, and it's a very difficult government name to use because of the connotation it provides. So in thinking of a fake name, they thought up John Cena. Simply 8 characters, 2 syllables, throw some trumpets behind it, and it just works. Why don't I use Hammerbush? Because that is just not who I am. I'm John Cena. Would love to hit someone over the head with a folding chair like they do in wrestling matches. How does this person always end up being okay? That's a fair question. Here's the honest answer. The people aren't okay. It is a steel folding chair and you get hit with it. It hurts like a swarm of killer bees devouring your soul. It hurts. When you think we get up and we're okay, we're not. Bruises, breaks, tears. We are trained professionals and this is our job to actually do this. I don't know why anyone would want to do it for recreation. So leave that stuff to us.
Just because I'm non-binary doesn't mean I'm gender neutral. I'm actually gender evil.
He's my best friend, he's my pal. He's my homeboy, my rotten soldier. He's my sweet cheese, my good time boy.
Sure.
My homies in Christ, why does God give his most banginest breasts to his most genderless soldiers?
That's right, everybody. It's your favorite boy.
Get the fuck out or
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We have some work to do now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
The thing that stands out to me about Glass Animal's Cane Sugar is that it features the only character on the How to Be a Human Being album that's presented with two completely different contrasting appearances. In certain variations of the album, he's presented as this sort of slick, oiled-up partygoer, carefree but completely detached from his surroundings. Whereas in other variations, he's a perfectly clean-cut professional businessman. The song's title, Cane Sugar, is a slang term for cocaine, with the entire song emulating this character's mindset while on it. He knows his addiction is self-destructive and sabotaging other parts of his life he loves and cares about, specifically his relationship with his partner. Yet at the same time, this character has cripplingly low self-esteem and adores the rush and confidence the high gives him. The entire chorus is him giving himself this delirious pep talk, but the irony to it is that nearly all the metaphors he uses contradict. He considers himself as effortlessly smooth and suave as James Bond, but pops the collars on his shirt in a way that we typically associate with tryhards. Everything he uses to attempt to present this image of power and prestige is empty and more so incredibly self-destructive. He promises his lover he'll stop using in the first verse, but clearly has no intentions of doing so, with her leaving him in the second. The second verse is narrated from her perspective, with her claiming he's burned through their love and presumably her patience, and that she's had to deal with too much to receive too little in return. The thing that makes this bit especially interesting to me, though, is that it's heavily implied in the Season 2 Episode 3 music video that the character from that music video is the lover in Cane Sugar, with the character in Cane Sugar being the narrator of Season 2 Episode 3. While both characters have clear substance issues, the first verse of Season 2 Episode 3 implies that the character from Cane Sugar has gotten clean. He's no longer using, he's getting his life together, but his partner, on the other hand, is stuck in the same habit she's had since the beginning of their relationship. All his attempts to help her are met with this sort of disdain, likely due to the fact the woman feels there's hypocrisy on his end. After all the agony you've put me through in handling your own substance issues, how dare you act as though you have the high ground? It's such a small detail, but I love it because it adds a whole new layer to both songs.
Hi, I just wanted to present this to the transgender community. Somebody is making a life-size Bionicle, and I thought we would all appreciate that.
The greatest of drama for our president, Barack Obama.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We have...
Hi, welcome to Daily Affirmations. I want you to say it with me. I'm not going insane. I am not going insane. I am not going insane.
man's head in between his thighs. Then
Gandalf gets to lick a graham cracker. It is her favorite activity.
I found this ad's head at a rally I was at yesterday. Now, she's fair blunt, a bit rusty and in need of a handle, so we'll see to that. The dogs in the street know what we're going to do about that rust. We are, of course, going to lather it in WD-40 and then sand like hell until all the rust is gone. So I've been sanding for about 20 minutes and look at the effect the pitting has made on the top. I could probably go at it for another few hours, but I think I kind of like the look of it. Now to sharpen, we're just going to chuck it in the vise here like this. And normally I wouldn't sharpen the top here, but because of all the pitting, I'm going to have to do it a small bit. So we're just going to grab our file and just spend some time fixing her up. Now we have the top flattened, so we need to sharpen the bevel here on the other side. Same story, different side. So I brought the edge back, and instead of bringing it to the diamond stone now to get it sharper, underneath the diamond stone there's like this little tool, and I barely ever used it, but there's like a knife, and it's 400 grit and then 600 grit, so it's kind of like a file, so I'm going to use that for a while. So we have it sharpened now, all that's left to do is put the handle on it. Now I'm fairly sure we have a piece of ash upstairs. There we have her now, lad. Fetch! So I have a very rough shape marked out into the ash now. So that means we can grab our rip cut saw here and just cut it out to shape. For the curved parts then, we have to use the keyhole saw because we can kind of twist that in the cut. So now that we have her shaped a bit, we need to plane down the top so it fits the head. After a bit of planing, it fits fairly well, so we'll just give it a few taps with the mallet. Yeah. Fits all the way through. And now to spend absolutely ages with a spoke shave, rounding it out. So I've eventually made my way up to 240 grit and we have a very smooth, nice looking handle. So to make sure the head doesn't fall off, we're just going to grab our saw here and just cut a few slits and then drive wedges into them. So I have a bit of leftover teeth here and that's what we're going to use to cut the wedges. So you can see here we have it locked into the vise here, and this is the splits that we're going to put the wedges into. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue on this fella here, rub it in with my finger a bit on both sides, and then put it into place just there now. Grab the hammer and just tap it into place. I'm just going to come along with the second one here just to make the cross shape. So I'm just going to put that fella in there and just tap away again. So there we have it wedged. It's not the prettiest, but the head is locked on tight. Lastly then, I'm just going to cover it in a bit of linseed oil just to make the grain pop and preserve the wood. So we have it done now, lads, and I think it turned out fairly nicely. After a bit of research, I found out it's a shipwrights adze, and this fella here, the peg pole, would have been using for driving boats or pegs down below the surface of the wood, so it's fairly cool. All that's left to do now is put it to the test. I'm here on a piece of ash now, and basically all I'm going to do is line myself up like this and just... So you can see here we have a fairly rough but flat surface, so all we need to do then will be bring it to the hewing hatchet and then the plane. So it's a fairly useful tool, well worthy of its place on the handrail of hand tools. I never really liked the look of this modern bow saw on the wall with all the old tools. There we go. Good luck.
Thanks, Harpo.
If we're gonna date, you may have to defeat my 7 evil exes.
You have 7 evil ex-boyfriends?
7 evil exes, yes.
And I have to fight... Defeat your 7 evil exes if we're going to continue to date?
Pretty much.
And this is what I said, I didn't even care.
I tell you what though, folks, that's bloody nice. That is bloody lovely.
You are gay. You are autistic. You are gay. You are autistic. You are on the spectrum. You are on the other spectrum.
OMG is short for Ooh, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Grand.
I have a new favourite person, and it's this guy. Darius McCollum has been arrested 30 times in New York for stealing public transport and then operating it correctly. He usually steals buses or trains, and every single time he's done it, he's driven the correct route, he's acted like an employee of the company, and he's operated the vehicle correctly and safely. He once responded to somebody pressing the emergency stop button by clearing the passengers, diagnosing the problem, and he only got caught when the actual train driver showed up and was like, who the fuck are you? They used to put posters around New York subway stations of this guy to tell people he wasn't a train driver. And Darius has loved public transport like his entire life. At the age of 8, he's completely memorized the New York subway system. By the age of 13, he'd become mates with a bunch of train drivers, and he was allowed to drive the locomotives in and out of the train yard. He was first arrested at the age of 15 for correctly driving a train full of passengers 6 stops. Unfortunately, this arrest did make him completely ineligible to work at the train company whose trains he'd been driving as a teenager. Because of his hobby, Darius has spent over a third of his life in prison. He spent over 18 years in institutions after being arrested for multiple violations of his parole. And unfortunately, in 2015, he was arrested and remanded to a psychiatric unit indefinitely. Darius has Asperger's, and during his sentencing, he was labelled as Track 1 mentally ill, which is the most dangerous designation that you can give somebody. But Darius has never been reported to be anything but kind and helpful. Every vehicle he's ever stolen, he's operated correctly and according to procedure, even as far as driving the correct bus routes for the buses he nicks. He even performed the correct signing in procedure to a train he had just stolen, and he's reportedly so well liked by these employees that they just let him cover their shifts. So anyway, free Darius. Darius is not dangerous, he shouldn't be in a mental institution, just give him a job as a bloody train driver and he'll be happy.
The pipeline from coming out as bisexual to not knowing what your sexuality is at all is just so funny, because what's your sexuality? Heck if I know. Like, I stopped labeling myself only because even I don't know what's going on. Like, people are hot sometimes only the fictional ones are, sometimes no one is, whatever that is.
I've just come to the realization that toddlers slayed 3 concepts. First one is the iPad child aesthetic. Like, as a recent iPad purchaser myself, yeah, I'm going to whip out my iPad, watch a little video, and eat a little snack together. Like, I get the appeal. They were kind of right for that. Second thing, that brings me on to the second thing, talking about food. A little puree, a little snack to go at any time, that's a little bit fantastic. I might just chuck a cheese stick in the tote on my way out to the market. You can't stop me. Third thing, the continuously asking why. Oh, this is a thought exercise, right? What am I doing? Oh, I'm scrolling on Instagram. Why? Because I have time and it's free. Why? Why is Instagram free? Someone has to be paying for it. Oh wait, Instagram's selling my data. +1 toddlers.
Mike said he put the silage into the pit, and he said there was a bit too much. And I tell you now, lads, he was not fucking lying. I'm over here now, lads, and
I don't know about cranes is how they get to the job sites and how they get removed. I don't see cranes on trucks.
You've totally seen cranes driving around. They look like this. That's a crane driving around. Look at this bad boy. What you don't see driving around are tower cranes, which are built by mobile cranes. So there's all these little segments are individual pieces, and a mobile crane will stack them up, and then the mobile crane will drive away so that the tower crane can do its job, and then it will come and it will take it apart. So cranes build cranes. The cranes are constructed by other cranes. There is an exception to this when they need to be very, very tall, and it's freaking wild because the crane builds itself. It hauls up sections of itself, and then it jacks itself on top of itself, and then it slides the section in, and they bolt it on, and then it continues to climb itself. I don't know about you, but I am glad I don't have that job.
God made a mistake giving me a cute little mischievous face. Look at me. I get away with everything. I get whatever I want. Oh no. I will not use this power for good.
My cat's favorite toy is a bra pad.
Good job.
For every flop, there is an equal and opposite sleigh.
The fucking free body diagram.
No, it's absolutely a free body diagram. We have Lady Gaga. For every sleigh, there's an equal and opposite flap. So then we have Post Malone.
Gay rights.
Gay rights. Mask for mask. The opposite of that would be femme for femme. Me.
There's something so sexy about knowing that you're with a homosexual.
It's almost like it's a gay relationship.
Exactly.
Boys in skirts.
Flop.
No, hold on. But the equal and opposite reaction is also boys in skirts.
Straight men are just lesbians with longer cargo shorts, fewer skills, and evil in their hearts.
Like a sapphic picnic is a sleigh.
And then gay circa party. Flop.
A gay pride parade. Santa Claus. Turtles. What are their equal and opposite flop? Dog tags. Another flop would be camo, and its equal and opposite sleigh is polka dots.
Don't you have camo?
Shut up. It's different when I do it. I'm famous. Bimbofication. What's the opposite of bimbofication? What's its equal and opposite flop? Baptism.
Like the textual experience of eating seaweed because it feels like I'm eating the paper out of a wizard's book.
Recently, I finished sketchbook number 34, which got me thinking, what's the cost? I am a snob with sketchbooks and I like that thick paper and hardcover, which means each sketchbook comes to an average of $20, which puts me to at least $680 worth of completed sketchbooks, which is at least 68 felt jester hats from Party City that I could have bought. Instead, here I am with 0 jester hats, and at the end of the day, did the paper and the sketchbooks really slap that much? No, not really. So alas, here we are embarking on a journey of bookbinding. I snatched a pad of one of my favorite art papers when it was on sale, used the backboard as the covers, spent way too long trying to stick rose petals onto said covers, and bound it into a sketchbook using the Coptic stitch method with heavy-duty thread. And here she is, sketchbook number 35. I'm taking name suggestions for her. And the best part, not including materials I already had lying around the house, the total cost of the sketchbook was $5. That is 1.5 jester hats already in my pocket. So, let me know if you want a tutorial.
Boss, we learned out who the mole is. It's polyamorous Tony. The red fuck. I want him dead. I want his wife dead. I want his wife dead. I want his wife dead. I want his wife